Greetings, dreamweavers and plant lovers. This lesson today is about a green being, a tree, that is so near and dear to my heart. It's one of my deepest, longest allies, and it is the Cottonwood tree, also known as the poplar tree, also known as balm of Gilead. And this plant's healing properties were so profound that it's mentioned, I believe, dozens of times in the Christian Bible. In the Bible, it goes by the name balm of Gilead. But the reason it's so mentioned and that balm, the balm of Gilead, is so widely known and well used is because it is an incredible all-in-one, all-purpose healing salve. In fact, I would go so far as to say, and I do say, that if you just want one salve, one ointment in your home, one salve to rule them all, meaning it covers all the bases of your home family care, then Cottonwood salve, aka balm of Gilead, is absolutely what I would recommend. And I've been through times in my family's life where we were busy and didn't have, as much time to make all of the things, all the salves and ointments that I do in other years. And in those times, we really did rely on the balm of Gilead to get us through the year. And so what do I mean by that? That it covers all the bases? Well, it helps with anything that's going on with the skin, whether that's dry skin, rashes, infections, bug bites, bee stings, cuts, scrapes, also bumps, bruises, muscle spasm, inflammation. It really does it all. And the reason that it does it all is because the salve, the ointment, is made from the leaf buds of the tree, of the poplar tree. And those buds, you probably know what they are. You probably have felt them get stuck to your clothes or your fingers, and they leave that sticky resin. You also might recognize the smell. The smell of cottonwood is very unique, and if you've lived in cottonwood area, an area where cottonwood trees grow, then you definitely know the smell. When the leaf buds open in spring, you can smell the aroma, which I find delicious, all over. And so it often reminds people of the smell of spring. And so the smell and the incredible medicinal potency, as well as the sticky nature of the buds, is due to the presence of these really medicinal resins that are in the buds. And it's that resin that has all of the medicinal power, the medicinal constituents. And it's a pretty incredible substance, that resin. It's so incredible that bees use the resin from the cottonwood buds to line their hives and create that substance that's known as propolis, which you may have heard of. You may even have taken tincture of propolis to help to soothe a sore throat or fight respiratory infections. And the bees do that with the resin. They make propolis because it is so incredibly antioxidant and antimicrobial that it prevents the hive from rotting, from molding, from spoiling. And so that hints to us at the power that the resins have to decrease infection, to decrease oxidation, to decrease spoiling, etc. And so we use those buds and that resin in salve, also in tincture, to also receive those medicinal benefits. So if you're going to make one salve this year in your herbal endeavors, I recommend making cottonwood bud salve. Make balm of Gilead. And the time to harvest them is essentially when they are not yet opened. So it's before spring, sometime in winter, when the buds haven't opened yet, when the leaves haven't started growing. And so in my climate, in my ecosystem, when it comes to be around New Year, around January 1st, that's when I'm really thinking about seeking cottonwood buds to harvest. And what are we looking for? Well, cottonwood in a spirit way, has a really deep and true resonance with, association with the wind. And so one of the ways this resonance, this association shows up is that following a windstorm, there will be lots of branches of cottonwood that will have fallen down to the earth. And on the tips of those branches will be those resinous medicinal buds that you can go and harvest. And so this is really the most sustainable and easy way to harvest the buds, is from branches that have already fallen to the ground. So around the new year, think about waiting for a day where there's been some wind and going to a cottonwood tree or grove or row, which they're commonly planted in rows as a wind barrier. Again, that connection to the wind, and look for the bud-laden branches on the ground and harvest them. And the harvest is really as easy as popping them off of the branch tips. You should know that those resins that are in the buds will get everywhere. It will stick to your hands. It will stick to the bag or jar that you use. It will stick to any tools that you use in your medicine making process. And so you might want to have special tools reserved for your cottonwood bud preparations. I do. I have a little crock pot that I use to make my cottonwood oil, which I then turn into salve, that is only used for the cottonwood. So that, because it's hard to get all of that resin off, even if you are, scrubbing with isopropyl alcohol or alcohol, etc. It is possible, but if you really get into this in your relationship with this plant, then you might just want to get your own crock pot to work with it. And so that's kind of the physical medicine of cottonwood, is that it's a really powerful, incredible topical herbal ointment for pretty much everything. It really also increases circulation. It's what we as herbalists call a rubefacient, meaning it pulls new blood to the surface of the skin, which has the downstream effect of helping to both heal superficial tissue, like skin tissue, and also deeper tissue, like arthritic joint inflammation, because by pulling blood to the skin, we're pulling the immune system essentially away from those deeper areas, which has the downstream effect of decreasing inflammation and therefore pain. And so you'll use it a lot. You'll use it for everything. And it's a great, great blessing in that way. It's also wonderful because it really is such an abundant and sustainable medicine to harvest. And so it can take the load off of other plants that maybe aren't as abundant and aren't as sustainable. And it is so incredibly helpful. You might also choose to make a tincture of the buds to take orally, internally, and you would use that in the same way that you may have used propolis tincture, which is, as I mentioned, for really fighting infection and decreasing inflammation and irritation in the throat, in the upper respiratory tract. It really does those resins kind of line the respiratory tract and fight infection, as well as dry up mucus, as well as prevent infection from kind of sticking on. So that's how we think about using the cottonwood physically. Now, in a spirit way, cottonwood also has just incredible, incredible medicine. And so one way that we can thinking about what a plant's spiritual medicine is via something that's called the doctrine of signatures. And you may have heard of this. And essentially what the doctrine of signatures is it's a way of saying that we can look at a plant or a tree, how it looks, what its shape is, what its color is, where it grows, how it grows, etc. And in that, we can see that almost as symbolic or representative of what its medicine is, both physically and spiritually. So that's the doctrine of signatures. And it often is an effective way to reflect upon plants to learn about their medicine. And so one way the doctrine of signatures shows up for the cottonwoods is that the leaves are heart-shaped. The leaves are heart-shaped. And different species and subspecies of the populus genus, which is the cottonwood genus, have varying shapes of leaves. But in general, that heart shape rings true. And so in this instance, cottonwood isn't so much for the physical heart. It's not so much like a hawthorn or a ginkgo that really has like a specific effect on like the heart, the cardiovasculature. But what it does is it has an effect on the spiritual heart, the energetic heart. And I've sat with this plant many times for a long time. And what I've come to understand is that those heart-shaped leaves also will dance in the wind. And they're one of those plants like the aspen that when you look at them, they dance so brightly, so jubilee, so jovially, so authentically. And not only that, but they are one of those plants, trees, that will also dance when there's no wind. And you may have noticed this. The cottonwood, similar to the aspens, will, the leaves will shake, they'll wiggle, they'll jiggle when there's no wind blowing. And in this, what I've come to understand is that cottonwood connects us to the deep, authentic truth of the heart. Like who I am, who you are in the deepest inner recesses of your being, of your heart. And in that, the cottonwood helps to connect us to the truth of our heart, to know what is actually true for me in a moment, especially when there may be chaos around or other people's voices and opinions on what I should do or shouldn't do or should be or shouldn't be. Cottonwood can help to kind of clear away those other voices, those overlays, to connect us to the truth of our hearts. What is my heart's path? What is my heart's knowing? What is my heart's destiny? And in connecting me to that, it also helps reflect to me, remember it dances when there's no wind, that my job is to, it's almost like that cliche, dance like no one's watching. That is absolutely what cottonwood is. It reflects to us to dance like no one's watching. Dance like, even if there's no wind blowing, even if there's no music playing, if I feel the dance in my heart, I'm going for it. And so in that, cottonwood really helps to encourage us to live, to dance, to be, to create from our hearts. And what is to do so as a response from what is actually true. What is actually true within me at my deepest core, my original, authentic heart medicine. That's what cottonwood connects us to. And that is a great, 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 great gift. And so anytime you're feeling disconnected from your heart's truth, or perhaps in a situation that is confusing, where there's a lot of opinions externally on what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing, or even internal opinions on what you should be doing or shouldn't be doing that you may have absorbed from the overculture, from voices around you, etc. And you want to really drop deep down to what your heart knows to be true, it's a powerful time to sit with cottonwood. If you can, go to a tree and sit with your back to its back, that is always powerful. Leaning our backs against the trunk of a tree is such a great way to connect with, exchange with, absorb their medicine, their wisdom. You can also, and I've done this so many times, receive from a cottonwood tree a leaf, a heart-shaped leaf, and bring it back with you. Place it on your altar, on your car dashboard, on a place that you will see it regularly to connect you to your heart. May I always be connected to the truth of my heart, to what is true for me, to what is true for me. Another spirit medicine of cottonwood that I'm so grateful for and that I've woven into my own life practice as well as with many, many, many clients is this. And this medicine was received from a dream. And so, as you know, when I receive teachings from healing plants in the dreams, to me, they are nothing short of gold nuggets of medicine. And so, this dream that I received was, in the dream, essentially Cottonwood was there, and I saw the tree kind of as it is, but also more in a spirit form. And what it told me was this. It told me that Cottonwood, that it helps us to open and clear our throat chakras. It helps us to open and clear our throat chakras so that we can speak, sing, share, live, dance, express from that truer heart connection, that truer heart center. And so I didn't know this at the time that I received this dream, and I haven't really heard it or read it anywhere else, which is fine. Plants share different medicines with different people. But what I've come to understand in sitting with this dream and with Cottonwood is that not only does it open up our heart to connect with the deep truth therein, but it also helps us to live and express from that place, which is our throat chakra. Our throat chakra isn't just about our speaking and our singing. It's about our expression and how it is that we are authentically expressing with power. And so Cottonwood helps us express authentically, powerfully from the truth of our hearts. And so I do anoint my throat chakra pretty much daily with balm of Gilead, with cottonwood oil or salve. And I do that knowing that as I'm doing it, the cottonwood is helping me connect me to the truth of my heart and to express and live my life from that place. And so I share that with you, that perhaps it wants to help you in that way as well. If I could summarize Cottonwood's medicine down to one phrase, I would say this: trust your heart. Trust your heart. And live from that place. Trust your heart. And so blessed be your time with this beautiful, sacred, wise wind dancer.